Hey, everybody, it's Mary from Nuts and Berries. It's time to start paying attention to a couple of things. Did you know that Georgia legislative session is going on right now? And our representatives are reviewing many proposed bills that specifically impact you. Normally, I don't get involved in politics too much as a health food store owner, but this year there are some things that are happening that I feel might impact your everyday life. And I want to let you know about them before they happen so you can take action. As you might remember, in 2024, on the final day of the session, a bill was passed after everyone went home late at night outlining your access to THCA flower. Well, the representatives are at it again, and now they want to ban many of the products you love, most notably THC drinks. It's time to start paying attention. So, what's going on with these bills? I'm going to share my screen with you and give you access to a bunch of different resources that can help you get educated. And then I'm going to outline the steps that you can take as a resident of Georgia to help keep access to the products that you love. So there are two specific bills, but the first one, I'm going to share my screen with you and take you into is right here. And this particular website, and you can see the site up here, I'm going to provide links to all of this stuff to everyone later in a blog post that I'll email out to you. But this was put together by Aviva, who most of you know from many of the events we've put on. She's a beautiful voice and a wonderful personality, but she's also a hemp advocate who is very knowledgeable about how the government works. And so she helped put together this particular website tracker for what's going on in session this year. And so the two bills that we're going to pay attention to are SB 33 and SB 254. So we're going to start talking about SB 33 because while SB 254 is the one we really need to make not happen, SB 33 does have some additional restrictions to the hemp industry. And so I'm going to take you over to the Georgia General Assembly site. And again, you can get the website here, but I'll also put links for this into the blog post. So if you kind of look down here, you can see the history of what's happened. It was read into committee, whatever that is, right? And then it was passed by substitute. So that's the thing we have to start paying attention to, folks. There was a bill that was read into the Senate, into this particular group of people, which it was in the Regulated Industry and Utilities Committee. And that's a group of people right here, these sponsors. And there's a group of people, if you click through on the Regulated Industries and Utilities, and you can see who all is on that committee. You can see what the committee is about and all of the different bills that is assigned to this committee. But for SB 33, specifically, what it is doing is providing limits on total THC concentration. It's actually redefining THC as intoxicating cannabinoids. So it lists under that Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 9, a bunch of different versions of THC that create an intoxicating effect that this group of people who wrote the bill seem to have decided that's what is included. It did not, you should note, include THCA in the intoxicating cannabinoids. And that's the gist of this. There's a bunch of other things. And if you want to read the bill, I suggest going to the current version right here. And you can see it talks about amending the Georgia Hemp Farming Act. And then it comes down here and it talks about a bunch of definitions. So it defines different words. This is important. And then kind of coming down here, you can see this area right here, this outline. This is new. Intoxicating cannabinoids means THC and any isomers, derivatives, salts of isomers, analogs, halogen analogs, homologs of THC, including but not limited to Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, Delta 11, THC, and HHC. So basically what this is they're trying to get rid of synthetic cannabinoids. So they're going to group all of those into one key term. And then when you come down a little bit lower, you're going to see that they'll talk about a lot of things that were passed in last year's bill, but they'll come down here and they'll say total concentration of intoxicating cannabinoids means the concentration of all THC and other intoxicating cannabinoids within a sample. And so basically what they're going to say is that you can't have more than 0.3% total of these total intoxicating cannabinoids. Essentially what this is going to do for us at Nuts and Berries is it's going to take away your favorite products. It's going to take away Lights Out. It's going to take away Hello Mellow. It's going to take away Sky High. It's going to take away vapes, and it's going to take away your Delta 8 tinctures, because all of that's going to have to be below a total of 12 milligrams in a gummy. 10 milligrams if they specifically list out milligrams. And so that's really going to reduce the potency of some of the Delta 8 products, which would just essentially make them not worth your money. Now, that's the gist of this bill. There's a whole lot else in here, and you can go through and read all of it, but they're redefining these things. But this is not the big one that I need you to pay attention to. While I do say we need to write and say we do not want SB 33 to pass, I specifically want us to talk about SB 254. This is the one that Bill Calsert sponsored, but then after everybody went home, the advocates, the people that were testifying, a different member went in and substituted in information outlining THC drinks. Now, we know last year they put a cap on THC drinks, saying you could only have 10 milligrams in a 12-ounce container. Now they're coming back and saying no THC drinks at all. Last year, 10 milligrams was okay. This year, nothing is okay. Now, there's a ton of media about this, and there are some people that have been quoted comparing a 10 milligram THC drink with 4 alcoholic drinks, which is totally incorrect and not based on any fact at all. So I believe that there needs to be a ton more research if we're going to continue down this how many milligrams is the right number of milligrams approach. These people are just arbitrarily picking these numbers, and they are being influenced by other groups. And so we could go through and read all of this, but if you go very quickly in here, again, we're talking about Delta 8 not being a separate cannabinoid and being included in the total THC concentration. And then as you kind of come down here, you'll see right here where it says no consumable hemp product shall be sold or otherwise distributed in this state if such a product constitutes or is a component of a food product. This means you can't have any chocolate bars, you can't have honey, you could only have gummies, or a drink or beverage that contains alcohol or contains THC. So this is eliminating all THC, hemp-derived THC drinks. Now, folks, this is not good, right? And so why is this happening is the question that we need to be asking. And it's happening for a bunch of different reasons. Much of it is motivated by outside influence from the medical cannabis industry, trying to control the profit from the plant by creating a monopoly, getting rid of the hemp folks, taking it away from the hemp. The government is essentially reducing our access and limiting our freedom of choice to use plant medicine. But most of all, the government folks are completely uneducated. They are not familiar with the endocannabinoid system. They do not understand that our body has a balancing system that works beautifully with this particular plant and the chemicals within this plant. And I implore all of us to continue to talk to our representatives about the endocannabinoid system, because it is a real thing. It does exist. And they continue to act like we are a bunch of children as adults. They did put a 21, you have to be 21 or older in order to purchase the products. And so it should be regulated just like alcohol, and let adults make their own choices. Who are you to tell me that 4 glasses of wine are equivalent to 10 milligrams of THC? That is completely inaccurate, but also baseless. There's no research behind that. And we're going to pass legislation limiting access to products that help tons of people because somebody has an opinion. I don't think that that's the way to do it. And so we really need to speak to our representatives about that specifically. Now, why get involved, you ask? Why get involved? Well, my ask of you today isn't just about calling and emailing about these hemp bills, although I do want you to do that. This is a call to action for every person who values the freedom to choose their health on their terms. Our senators and representatives are not listening to us. If we don't start paying attention in the dark of night by no vote of ours, they will substitute the world that they want, not the one that we value. And this is happening now, folks. This is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making this up. They have substituted in a bill to ban your THC drinks. It is time to start paying attention to what is happening in our local and state governments. So here is what you can do. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through the simple steps. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go on over here to my voter page. And so this is a website put on by the state of Georgia. You basically enter in your first initial, your last name, you pick the county that you live in and your date of birth, and then you hit submit. And I'm going to show you what comes up when I enter my information in here. Whoop, I got to do it again. I live in DeKalb County, which is where Nuts and Berries is located. And it's going to pull up all my information here, right? So it's going to show me my address, where I live. It's going to show me where I vote. It's going to show me my voting history, not who I voted for, but my voting history. And then it's going to come down here, and this is what I want you to see, is it's going to show you all the candidates, the district maps, but then specifically who your state senator is, who your state house representative is, and all the other things that are important to you. And so, for example, in the House, my representative, I can click on that, and it shows me that my representative is Shay Roberts. She's a Democrat in Atlanta. And this is how I can contact her. I have already contacted her about these bills and how I don't want them to be passed. My state senator is Sally Harrell. I have already also contacted her. So you need to go in for your specific information and click on it. And then I'm going to have you go to a website that is, I'm going to get this screen thing to go away over here. The U.S. Hemp Roundtable. So these folks are great. They help to kind of organize all of the things that we need to do in terms of legislation. And on this site, there's a help oppose the ban on hemp products in Georgia. So take action. What I need you to do is go to this site. Again, I'm going to provide you with all of these links. Click on it, and then come in here and put your information in and your email in, put your phone number, your address in. You don't have to opt into any of these things. And it already writes up a perfectly good objection to why we don't want to have SB 254 pass. We want it to be turned down. And specifically the THC caps and the total THC ban on the hemp drinks with THC in them. And then you just come down here, you click send messages, and it automatically sends it to the correct people. But then I would also like you to go back to your voter page and email your specific senator and House representative individually and write them a heartfelt note. I want you to go in and just say, hey, I use these products. I am an adult. I want to be able to choose the products that I want to buy. I buy them from a reputable company who follows the rules, who has a hemp license, who gets the C of A's, who does all the things that you've asked us to do. I just want to have access to these products. I know you may not sit on this committee, but if you do have to go in and vote as a representative, I want you to vote no on SB 33 and on SB 54. So, folks, that's going to be the first thing that I want you to do. You're going to go to this Georgia Hemp Roundtable and do that. Now, when do you need to do that by? Well, I really need for you to do that today or tomorrow, but absolutely before the end of the day on Monday, because Tuesday, there's a chance that one or both of these bills could go up for a vote. And if they go up for a vote, then the only final option we have is appealing to Brian Kemp to not sign them. And that's going to be a lot more difficult. So if we go in now in mass and we all fill out these forms and write to our representatives, this is state of Georgia representatives, we can make a difference. And again, I need you to do this today. Then when you get a few minutes this weekend or next week, I want you to start to look through all of the things that are going on in our state. It's time to make sure that you know what the process is, when things happen, and what you can do to protect your freedoms. Did you know that the state of Georgia representatives only go into session for 40 days? And we're on day 31 right now on March 13th. So there's less than 10 days left for them to work on making laws. And the rest of the year, they just listen to what we have to say. So we can act right now and make a difference on some of these laws that we don't want to see passed. But then afterwards, we really need to learn what this process is, how it works, who we need to be talking to in order to make the world the way we want to see it better. So, did you know that there's a bill right now that passed through the Georgia Senate with a 42 yay to 12 nay that eliminates our ability to make a claim against a pesticide company? Folks, this is ridiculous. We know that, I'm going to share my screen again, but we know that glyphosate is a problem. Anybody who has ever shopped at my store knows that glyphosate is a problem. And what I've educated you on is that it is sprayed abundantly in the United States on crops that are genetically modified. That is why at Nuts and Berries, we do not sell any GMO products. But additionally, it's sprayed as a desiccant on wheat, chickpea, and oats. So even non-GMO wheat, chickpeas, and oats aren't going to be good for you because they're going to have higher concentrations of this particular herbicide. And in the state of Georgia right now, they are trying to create a situation where if a manufacturer doesn't warn the customer, that they cannot be held accountable. So under the law right now, if you can read over here at this Protect Georgia site, and there's a bunch of different things over here, but let's just look at the toxic loophole, right? Under the liability laws, a failure to warn claim can be made if a manufacturer doesn't properly inform consumers about potential dangers. Now, if we go in and we listen to the live session from yesterday, Wednesday, the 12th, and you listen to what the people that are our representatives are saying about glyphosate, that it is not dangerous. And they have a stack of paperwork. It is ridiculous. We know that the bacteria in our gut have the same pathway that plants do. That's how Roundup works. Glyphosate's the active ingredient in Roundup. That's how it works. And the bacteria in our gut have those same pathways. And we know that when we are exposed to these harmful chemicals, that we have a health impact, a detriment to our health, which is why we avoid GMO products, which is why we avoid non-organic wheat, chickpeas, and oats. And we know that, but we need to start to educate our legislators on this. So there is a chance to stop this bill. We want to vote no. And this is where you go in, again, put your address in, put your zip code in, and send your representative a note saying, no, we want this bill to go away. We want to make sure that the pharmaceutical and the chemical companies have liability, because if we get cancer because of their products and they didn't tell us that we were going to get cancer from them, it's their fault. Okay, so folks, here we are. I want you to take a look at that. And I want you to leave with this. It has become our responsibility to start standing up for ourselves, because no one is coming to save us. Together, we can work to make true health possible for ourselves and for our community. I believe there is hope, and all you need to do is join me. I hope you'll do it.